Why hello and welcome to my first ever video on this channel, and since this is essentially the beginning of my time here on YouTube, I thought it is only fitting to begin where it all went wrong. And where it went wrong, you might ask? Well, it all went wrong with anime that influenced my childhood. For clarification, I think of the age of where I watched anime in my childhood is from about 3 years old to around, let's say, 11, 12 years old, somewhere in that ballpark. Since that was the time when I was watching anime thinking there were only cartoons with similar art styles. Don't lie, we all thought that. So basically this list will be ordered by how severely a certain anime impacted my little Chad's self growing up and entertaining his lazy butt. So I repeat, this isn't a top 10 tier list of childhood anime, no. That comes later. Kidding. It's a list of anime that I liked most, or that I watched most as a child. So anyway, let's just get into it. First off, I would like to mention a really popular IP that was and still is huge, but in which cult I hadn't really participated, and that IP is Pokemon. Back in the early 2000s, Pokemon was quite big in my country and, well, the whole world. And the big reason for it was the anime. For my country, not the video games, because almost no one that I knew played the video games. I repeat, in my country. In the rest of the world, it's probably a lot different. I honestly never really got grabbed by Pokemon in a sexual way, but I still watched a handful of episodes and watched like a half of a movie once time while it was airing on TV. And I also watched Detective Pikachu in the movies and played a bit of Pokemon Go, so yeah, that's the extent of my Pokemon exposure. But it still shaped anime culture in general, and if I said that it didn't had some sort of impact on me growing up, well, then I would be lying. Similarly, but with a bit more influence on me, is a story with Beyblade. When Beyblade came out, it was so cool. Or actually, honestly, the toys were cooler than the anime. I honestly don't really remember that much about anime, but I remember toys were awesome. And another reason why Beyblade was so influential to me, because there were a lot of third-party Beyblades that you could get your hands up for a really cheap price. And so a lot of people were seen dueling using their swirly plastic toys for like a month. Not even joking, like I said, Beyblade was huge for a short amount of time, but compared to the rest of the series, like let's say Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, well, Pokemon as well, it didn't last even close to half of the time of popularity those shows had. But yeah, I still did participate in the Beyblade movement when it was first coming out, and I did watch, like I said, the anime series when it was rolling, but I honestly remember like nothing from it. So yeah, Beyblade was still more influential than Pokemon, but still we aren't at those anime series that really got me into anime. First, it was anime that I was really like religiously watching and following was InazumaEleven. Hey! I don't know how many of you know about InazumaEleven, but it's a little anime that aired in 2008. What the fuck, I am old. But yeah, where I came from, it was airing on Cartoon Network, and since Cartoon Network is Cartoon Network, I inevitably started watching it. InazumaEleven is basically a sports anime about football with superpowers. For a little kid, that was all I needed. So yeah, like I said, it was airing on Cartoon Network, so I inevitably had to watch it. And honestly, I have a pretty fond memories of it. I do remember it being quite fun, although maybe a bit generic looking back. Honestly, I didn't watch it for like years, so maybe I will rewatch it, who knows. Also, I would like to mention InazumaEleven Go, which is the sequel series, and one thing that I love is the sequel series. I love sequel series, and InazumaEleven Go is pretty good, but yeah, InazumaEleven Go definitely did shape my childhood. Inazuma, here we go. Next up is a little anime movie that I personally thought everyone had seen, but the more I talk about people, especially people who say they're anime fans, I found out they haven't watched Spirited Away. Like, how did you not watch Spirited Away? I have really fond memories of Spirited Away, especially because it was kind of traumatizing. Honestly, the scene with the spider guy, and when Chichiro finds her parents transform into pigs, to me that was, when I was a child, that was terrifying. But yeah, I have really fond memories of it because my cousins actually had the DVD of Spirited Away, and we would watch it like all the time. Because remember, this is like a preschool kid time, so it was like just creepy enough to like engage you, but not so scary that it would fucking traumatize you for the rest of your life. So yeah, Spirited Away, definitely a movie that I watched in my childhood, and definitely a movie that had a big influence in sparking my little anime interest. But now we are coming to the big hitters. These are anime that I was seriously watching. Like, I mean, probably every episode, bought merchandise. These were anime that I loved, played video games, everything. And first of those series is Bakugan. Bakugan actually came out in 2009. What the fuck? How old am I? Basically, one day in the world there were little plastic or metal balls. They started they started falling to earth, and then people pick up those balls and started dueling with those same balls. And yeah, that's how we got our Bakugan series. There were actually a couple of more of Bakugan series, and I watched pretty much all of them. But yeah, in its height it was huge, everyone was talking about it, everyone was watching it, and honestly, as far as I remember, it was really entertaining. It was also the PS2 game, which to me was awesome. I loved that game, me and my friends would play that game a lot. But yeah, still, out of these three series that I'm mentioning, Pokemon being the third of them, its popularity lasted the least, and it wasn't as far-reaching. But yeah, still love the series, watching it, loved Bakugan. And now, the next two anime series that I watched in my childhood are still with me to this day. These are series that I'm still into to this day, and I'm pretty sure all of you know about which series I'm talking about. First off, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. Yeah, you know it was here, you knew it was on this list. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the shit. I probably don't even have to talk very much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because everybody's heard of Yu-Gi-Ohs. I mean, everybody. So no, I pretty much watched the whole of Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. The last few arcs of Duel Monsters weren't actually dubbed in my country, because as they were about to be dubbed, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX already started airing, so I had to rewatch those arcs later on in my life. But speaking about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, that's honestly my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Honestly, GX, the reason I love them so much is because I love superheroes, and you know about elemental heroes, destiny heroes, evil heroes that were so present in this series that spoke to me so awesome. I also loved the Cyber Dragons, the Ojamas. I loved all, and I mean all archetypes in the Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's probably the reason why I like GX more than I like Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of you would probably crucify me by now, but I don't care, I have my opinion, and this is my opinion. Both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX had a huge impact on my life, but by the time the 5Ds anime came out, I actually stopped watching the anime side. I was still really into the card games, but in the anime not really, so I didn't watch 5Ds, Zexo, Arc 5 and Reigns, and the new series, if you want to call it that. But I'm still actually quite into Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually fell out of, by the time of Arc 5 and Reigns, I didn't really follow the Yu-Gi-Oh! format or the trading card game, but recently in the last year I slowly am getting back into it, so yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely series that deserves its recognition in my childhood. And now, the last series, the anime series that had the biggest impact to my little anime self was, you know it, say it with me, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yep, Avatar: The Last Airbender is the best anime series of all time, and it's the anime series which had the most impact on my life. I'm obviously joking, because I am not getting into a debate about if Avatar is an anime, but I would be lying if I said it didn't had a big influence on me growing up, since I really did love series, and I wanted to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender because I still think it shouldn't be forgotten. It's perfect! But yeah, even if you think even if you think or don't think Avatar is an anime, you cannot deny that it's pretty much inspired by anime, and it does capture the heart of anime. So I want to leave it in here as some kind of a honorable mention, and of course to troll you guys a bit. But now we're going back to my actual #1 most influential anime, and one of my favorite anime till this day, and that is Dragon Ball Z. Bit of a funny fact about me, about why I really got into Dragon Ball Z, was because, oh, and by the way, I watched Dragon Ball Z first, then Dragon Ball way later in my life, since our television networks just started airing Z before the original, so whatever. So anyway, the fact why I watched and I loved Dragon Ball Z was because of the blood. That's literally it. I remember I was at my grandma's house, or apartment actually. It was Sunday morning. I got up, of course, I went to watch the morning cartoons, and they were airing like 3 or 4 beginning episodes of Dragon Ball Z, so pretty much the Raditz fight. And to me it was so amazing that a cartoon had blood, because I mean, honestly, I wasn't stupid. I knew people had blood, but in every other series, whenever there was some damage or explosion, wherever they would just have that hashtag on their faces and not too much damage. So when I saw Piccolo drilling a hole through Goku and Raditz, I was hooked. So yeah, and after that I pretty much got into Dragon Ball Z, did watch it all the way to the Frieza saga, and that's where it just started re-airing. Yeah, so on my television there was never Cell Saga, Majin Buu Saga, but they did have collectible stickers, and in those stickers they actually talked about both the original Dragon Ball GT and all the rest of the sagas. And of course, as being obsessed with Dragon Ball Z as I was, I had to go on the interwebs and find more about Dragon Ball Z. Basically, the rest is history, where I found out and watched the whole of Dragon Ball Z, GT and the original Dragon Ball shows, and I'm still in love with the series to this day. I don't know how many games I've played. Infinite World, Budokai 3, Budokai Tenkaichi, Raging Blast games, the newer Xenoverse games, or Fighters even. And even if we set aside my obsession with Dragon Ball Z, the reason why it's on the #1 place of my most influential anime of my childhood is because it pretty much taught me about arcs, and it showed me a beautiful world of pirated anime on the internet. So yeah, it pretty much was the first anime that got me into anime. But funny enough, after I watched entirely Dragon Ball Z, I hadn't really watched anime for like 6 years. So yeah, like my entire later middle school days, I haven't spent watching anime. Only summer before my high school, I got into what was it? Attack on Titan and something else. I think it was Attack on Titan and no, it wasn't Death Note. But yeah, I watched Attack on Titan. That was like my first anime that I watched years after I was like watching at least well, I was watching consecutively. I was watching anime consecutively, but yeah, in high school was when I really get into anime and where my addiction started. Oh, my poor friend that had to listen to me talk about anime every day. I know he's watching this video. Man, I love you. Thank you for putting up with me. Without him, I wouldn't be such a huge anime nerd that I'm right now. But yeah, that actually takes us to the end of this video, and I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for watching this first video of my YouTube channel. I do hope I get to make more videos in the future, and I do hope you enjoy them. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.